So, as I announced before, the midterm exam will be conducted on this coming Saturday, September 16th, Saturday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. to 4 p.m. By online. So, as you can see, I made the additional lecture. This one, midterm supplement as supplement class, midterm. So you should log on by using this site. Okay, just like the to participate the regular class, you can log on by using this midterm exam supplement, the lecture, right? And there are three types of the exam. First one is the filling the blank question. Each one 10 questions, and each one is 3 points. So total 30 points. And essay questions, 6 questions, each one is 5 points. 30 points as well. And the calculation questions, 10 questions, each one is 4 points, 40 points. So total 100 points. So these 10 questions may be individual questions or group questions. Okay, some questions are individual questions, some questions are group questions. Group questions means we have sub questions within one group. Okay, so this is 100 points, and you can bring all of the material, including teaching material, textbook, calculator, all of things. It's not allowed only to communicate with your colleague. That's not allowed, except the communications with other friend, other colleague. Everything are allowed to do in the exam. Okay. And what else? And we do not have any class on coming Tuesday because this is 2 hours class, right? 2 hours additional class. So as you know, we skipped the first class of this course this semester, September 1st. So this is 2 classes, right? The exam is equivalent to 2 regular classes. So one class is this one, September 9th skip class, and we do not have any class on September 19th. Okay, no class. So these 2 classes, one of them is this one, the other one is this one, right? So you can restart the class on coming Thursday after midterm exam. Okay. And next coming Thursday, September 14th, we have the review session. Review session means doesn't mean I will review all of the contents we already cover. Not that means, but if you have the questions and if you ask something, then I will make the answer with respect to your questions. Okay. So if you do not have any questions, then we will terminate the class the early time, right?
Sure, I have a question.
Okay.
Which support can we use during the midterm exam? Is it Excel or Word?
It doesn't matter. You can use Excel, calculator, formula. It doesn't matter. But you need to write down the answer on the website in
Okay. Okay.
window, just like the quiz. So the process is doesn't matter anything. You can use anything. So that you can write down the answer, right? So if you write down the answer, only answer, then the answer, if the answer is correct, then you can get the full point, right? But the answer, your answer is wrong, then you cannot do any point, okay? So if you want to get the partial point, then you should write down the procedure to get the final answer, okay? Then if even if your final answer is wrong, but the procedure to get the final answer is right, then I will give some partial point. All right? Okay. So, and in coming Thursday, we will have the review session. So conduct the class review session efficiently, then you should prepare a lot of the questions to ask me. All right. Otherwise, that class looks like seems to be useless. All right. So it depends on your effort to prepare the questions for the midterm exam. All right. Any question about the exam
Yeah,
or
I have one
future
question.
schedule? All right.
So as I understood, the exam is like divided by 3. The first part is a blank text, and then the second one is the essay, and the third one is calculations, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, but what exactly do you mean by essay? Like, do we have to write, like, it's like open questions, kind of?
Yeah, open questions. Yeah, it looks like the first quiz, but the depth is more complicated in exam rather than the quiz. Essay means just like you write down some explanation about what I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
Professor,
Yeah.
I have a question. Do we have like filling blanks or like calculating questions be like multiple choices, or just do we have to write down the answers?
I cannot hear you, so the connection is disconnected. Say again, please.
I was asking like filling the blanks and the calculating questions will be like, do we have to write down the answers or do we have to choose the answers, like multiple questions?
That's the multiple questions. What you are asking is type of multiple questions. Filling the blank questions is the 가로넣기 in Korean. Yeah. So you need to write down some the terminology or some the key the items.
Oh, I have to write down, not like choose.
Sure. Not multiple choices.
But like calculating is multiple choice.
No, calculations you should write down the procedure to get the final answer and the final answer.
Okay.
So essay is just like the quiz. The type of quiz. Calculation is just like the homework.
Okay, thank you.
So any other question about the exam and future schedule? All right, then let's continue to talk about risk and return. What we will cover today is very important thing. Those kind of things those kind of things will be appeared in the exam. Not even the exam, not even the preparing the exam. This what we will cover today is very important thing to understand the financial management. Okay, so please pay attention to what I'm talking about. All right, in last class, we figured out CAPM, capital asset pricing model. Capital pricing model is one of the asset pricing model, which provide the explanation between the required return and the systematic risk, market risk, right? So we suppose that the diversity of risk is already gone, right? Disappeared when we construct portfolio. So the asset, the stock, we will talk about from now on is held in portfolio, which means all of the diversity of risk on each stock is disappeared, eliminated. So only risk that we think about is market risk, systematic risk. So CAPM provide the clue about the relationship between required return of single asset I and the risk. So as we studied in previous time, return, we can ask the return to compensate to take the risk, right? So all of the returns can be the function of the risk, right? So in CAPM, we can only think about the systematic risk, and systematic risk can be measured by beta. Okay, so in the CAPM, especially beta coefficient is very, very important thing, as I told you. So let's talk about beta in more detail. Beta coefficient, beta measures a stock's market risk and shows a stock's volatility relative to the market. Right? So beta is so important thing. So beta indicates how risky stock is if the stock is held in well-diversified portfolio. This is a market portfolio. Right? So we suppose that all of the specific stock is included in the market portfolio, right? So only one risk that we need to think about is market risk. Market risk of the single asset can be measured by beta. Okay, so beta may be 1, beta may be higher than 1, beta may be lower than 1, beta sometimes can beta be negative? Can be negative. So we will talk about this issue, right? So there's no range of beta, right? So when we talk about the correlation, we have the range, right? -1 correlation from -1 to +1. So correlation coefficient is the range. So that's why we need to use the correlation to figure out some relations between two assets. But in beta, there's no range. But the most of the beta coefficient of the stock is, that can move toward 1, right? So the beta coefficient of some stock is less than 1, 0.8, 0.9. Some beta is higher than 1, 1.2, 1.3. Definitely 2, 3 is possible. 0.1, 0.2 is also possible, right? So if the stock beta is higher than 1, then we would say those kind of stock is aggressive stock. Whereas beta is less than 1, then we'll say those kind of beta is defensive stock. So stock whose beta is less than 1, then you say those kind of stock is defensive stock. What's that mean? So if the market return and let's say the individual stocks return. So if market return goes up 3%, stock return goes up 3%. Market return goes down 2%, stock return goes down 2%. Market return goes up 1%, stock return goes up 1%. Then this I stock movement is the same, is identical with respect to market stock movement, price movement, right? In this case, beta 1, R1, beta 1 is going to be 1, same as the market beta, right? Or if market goes up 3%, but some stock price goes up more than 3%, 5%, for example, and market goes down 2%, but some stock goes down more than 2%, negative 4%. If market goes up 1%, then some stock goes up 2%. Then we would say in this case, the stock H move more than market move, right? Market price movement, right? So in this case, beta H is higher than 1. But if some stock named L, the stock price move, the degree of stock price movement is lower than market return, for example, 2%, minus 1%, 0%, then the degree of price movement in stock L is lower than market. In this case, beta is less than 1. Okay, so it totally depends on the degree of movement of a specific stock with respect to market price movement, right? Then let's say if market goes up, then what kind of stock can be, that we should invest in terms of beta? So if market goes up, then what kind of stock is better to invest in terms of beta? Junso,
Yes, Professor.
yeah, what
I
kind of
think
stock is better to invest if the market goes up?
I think it's the aggressive one.
Aggressive one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So if market goes up, then if you invest your money in aggressive stock, then you can make the more return than market, right? How about if market goes down, then what kind of stock is better in terms of beta? Mark?
The defensive one?
Yeah, exactly. Defensive stock. Okay. So if market goes up, market goes up, then it's better to invest our money in the stock whose beta is higher than 1. If market goes down, then it's better to invest the defensive stock. Okay. Then beta can be negative. Yunhwa, beta can be negative.
I don't know, but I don't think so.
You don't think so? But the reason why I wrote down this question is what? It's possible, right? If it is impossible, then I don't have to write down this. Right? So beta may be negative. How come? So we can figure out the betas by 2 ways. One of them is we can use the statistics. The other one is mathematics. Okay, so we can figure out the beta by using 2 ways. So let's take a look at the mathematics way first. So beta of stock I can be calculated by covariance of 2 stocks divided by variance of market return. Okay, so if we resolve this one, then the covariance IM, right? Covariance IM divided by the variance of market return. Then covariance numerator can be reserved sigma I times sigma M times rho IM. As I exaggerate, you should know the relationship between covariance and correlation, right? So when I explain the portfolio risk, I already give you the clue, right? The relationship between covariance and correlation, okay? So covariance of 2 assets, in this case, is specific stock I and the market return, can be reserved standard deviation of I, the specific stock, times standard deviation of market return, times correlation of 2 assets return. Okay, so numerator, denominator is the market return. Then the sigma M is wiped out in each term in numerator and denominator. So the remaining term is sigma I divided by sigma M times rho IM. This is beta of stock I. Right? Then, you know again, sigma I can be negative. Standard deviation of a single asset can be negative. It's possible or it's impossible?
It's possible.
It's impossible, right? Standard deviation cannot be negative, okay? Standard deviation, because standard deviation is, how can we calculate the standard deviation? Something square root, right? Something square root cannot be negative, right? Something square root cannot be negative. So standard deviation of each stock's return cannot be negative. So this is not, cannot be negative, cannot be negative. How about the correlation coefficient? Can be negative, you know, again?
No.
No? 야, 반에 50-50 계속 틀려. 이게 못 찍어. 야, 이거 뭐라 그랬어? correlation, 쪼가 설명했잖아. 이거 뭐야? What's that?
Oh yeah, it can be negative. Yeah. Sorry.
이게 negative, right? Okay. 계속 wrong answer만 얘기하고 있어. 50-50인데요. 자, 그래서 standard deviation of single asset cannot be negative, cannot be negative. correlation, 앞에서도 얘기했잖아, 여기서. 어딨어? 여기 했잖아, 금방 여기 했잖아. 그렇죠? We did it. 예? 여기 했어. 그렇지? 그래서 correlation coefficient can be negative. Okay, so let's say if beta coefficient of some single asset is negative, which means what? Correlation is negative. Okay, only if correlation is negative, then the beta coefficient can be negative. What kind of situation? So just like this one. So if market return goes up 3%, but the specific stocks return goes down 2%. If market goes down 1%, but the stock return goes up 1%, market return goes up 2%, but the stock I's return goes down -1%. It's possible, right? Definitely this is the low probability, but it's possible. Okay, so some stock move the reversely with respect to the market the price. It's possible in reality. So if beta is negative, means correlation is negative. When correlation is negative, then beta may be negative. Okay, that's the mathematics method. So analysts are forced to rely on historical data. So we can calculate the beta by using historical data. A typical approach to estimate beta is run the regression. By the statistics method, run the regression, 회귀 분석 in Korean. All of you guys took the business statistics or business the mathematics, I believe. So you are familiar with the regression, right? Regression on securities past returns against past returns of the market. So this is the the statistics method, the slope. So when we run the regression, we can get the y-intercept and slope. The slope of the regression line is defined as the beta coefficient for the security, right? So the slope of regression line is beta coefficient. Okay, so here you go. Oh, x-axis is the realized return bar. Bar means realized return because it is historical data. So the market realized return is located on the x-axis. Y-axis is the realized return of single asset. right? Realized return of single asset. So let's say there are 3 years observations during the last 3 years. So in the first year, market realized return is 15%. When market return is 15%, the realized return is 18%. Then we can make the plot here. Second observation is market is negative 5% and the realized return is negative 10%. So we can make the plot just like that one. And the third observation is market when market goes up 12% and the realized return goes up 60%. So if we have these three observations, then if we run the regression, then we can figure out this graph. This graph is called as best fitted line. Best fitted line. Best fitted line means the line that explains the relationship between market realized return and specific stocks realized return very well. That's the best fitted line. Best fitted line means, so this is the error term, right? This is error term. So the distance between the line and the real observation is called as distance. This distance is the error term, right? So best fitted line can be satisfied by each error term. In this case, observation is 3. The line can minimize the error terms, right? That's the best. This is best fitted line. So if we run the regression, then you can figure out the Excel spreadsheet provide the answer about the best fitted line, regression line. So in the slope of this regression line is beta. Okay, beta. So this is slope, right? Slope. So if we run the regression, we can make this kind of the answer. Okay, so that this slope of x variables is gonna be beta coefficient 1.44, right? So to understand what we will talk about is that you should know basic knowledge about the x-axis and y relationship between x-axis and y-axis. Y graph, just like this graph. This graph is what? Y equal to a plus bx, right? Y equal to a plus bx. A means what? Y-intercept. This is the A, right? Y-intercept is A, and the x variable is market realized return. Y variable is realized return, and the B in front of x variable play role as slope. This B is the beta. Okay, so if once you understand y equal to a plus bx line, then this one, right? Y equal to a plus bx line, then you need to figure out the x variables, y variables, and then intercept and the slope. The slope is beta. All right, slope is beta. So if we write down y variable is what? Y variable is realized return, I, right? Equal to, we do not know alpha, het. Het means the parameter estimate. So this is the result of statistics. Alpha plus beta, het times, what is the x variable? Rm. Right? So this line is called as SCL. So don't be confused of this SCL and SML. We will talk about later on. SCL stands for security characteristic line. Security characteristic line. So beta is the slope of security characteristic line. So in secret characteristic line, X variable is the market realized return. Y variable is what? Realized return. Okay. So let me show you by using Excel spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheet. 5, 18, minus 5, minus 10, 12, 16. So this is RM, RI. So RM is 15%, RM is 18%, RI is 18%, RM is negative 5%, RI is the negative 10%, and RM is 12%, RI is 16%, right? So, we have 3 observations, right? Year 1, 2, 3. That's the example in the slide, right? Then we can calculate the slope. So by using Excel, so there's the function key to figure out the slope. So the function name is the slope, right? It's very simple, right? Slope. And we need to provide the range of y variables and x variables. As I told you, in this case, what is y variables? Ri or Rm. As you can see, Ri or Rm. 이동환.
Yes,
Yeah.
Professor.
Yeah, what is y variables? Rm or column D or column E? What is the final purpose to figure out?
I think it's column D.
Right? Realized return, right? So realized return should be y, right? So in the regression, the variable of y is the final purpose we need to know. So 아까 앞에서 했잖아요. 아까 앞에서 했잖아. 이 뭐야 이거 y variable이 뭐야? 야, 금방 한 것들도 몰라. 어쩌라고? 어쩌? What should I do? Just we reviewed that one just right before this slide, right? So you forgot everything what I told you. So what is my variables? Ri or Rm?
RI.
Ri, exactly, right? So y is this one, right? X range is this one. So if you click the conform, then the slope of two SS return is 1.44. So beta coefficient is 1.44 in this example, right? But this is the simple way to calculate the beta. So original way is not this one. Original way, let's take a look at the original way. So what did I say? So Ri equal to Rf plus Rm minus Rf beta, right? So what we did is what? Ri equal to Rm beta. We did it, right? So we do not consider what? Risk-free rate to figure out this equation. Okay, so what we did is what? Ri equal to Rm beta, right? So we need to think about what? Risk-free rate. We should include risk-free rate. So if we consider risk-free rate to calculate the beta, risk-free rate in the right-hand side move to the left-hand side. So Ri minus Rf equal to Rm minus Rf beta, right? So we need to consider risk-free rate, right? So in this case, if risk-free rate is the, for example, 2% in each year, then the more exact term is not Rm, but Rm minus Rf, not Ri, but Ri minus Rf, right? So Rm minus Rf is this one 15% minus 2%. Ri minus Rf is the 18% minus 2%. Okay, all right. So we can calculate the slope. So the simple way to calculate the slope is the y-axis is this one, x-axis is the market premium. Same thing, 1.44 or 126. If the risk-free rate is same, if we change 3%, different, right? 4%, little bit different, right? Little bit different, okay? Little bit different. The reason why the beta is equal with risk-free rate, without risk-free rate, is because if we assume the risk-free rate is constant. When risk-free rate is constant, then the answer is the identical. Otherwise, the answer is the different, right? Okay. And the more exact term is what? This is just slope. This is the way to calculate only slope. But the more exact one is what? You can use this data analysis function, data analysis, the option, right? So when we open the Excel spreadsheet for the first time, there's no option to calculate the data analysis, this window. So if you do not have any this window, then you can download from Excel spreadsheet directly. How come? You can go to the file and you can go to the option and you can go to the additional function. And there are tons of additional functions. So out of tons of additional functions, you can click the analytical tools, this one. So if you click this one, analytical tool, it doesn't matter, VBA has the more function. And then you can go to the move. Then, and the conform, then this window can be realized, right? And so this is data analysis. So more exact term is we can use the data analysis. So data, if you click the data analysis, there are tons of the methodology, including data analysis. Out of tons of this methodology, we can use this is 회귀 분석. In Korean, it's regression. This is a regression. So if you click the regression conform, then the y-axis we need to provide the information about the y-axis range, x-axis range. So as you can see, y-axis range is this one, x-axis range is this one, right? Market excess return, market premium, and realized premium. And if you click the conform, then we can have the new window. So this one provide the beta coefficient 1.242, right? And the y-intercept is this is y-intercept. Okay, so in this case we can figure out the y equal to minus 1.17 plus 1.43x. So we would say in this case, y equal to a plus bx, right? So ri minus rf plus alpha plus beta rm minus rf. So in this case, what? Alpha is the minus 1.17 plus beta is 1.43. Okay, this is the SCL. So SCL, in SCL, slope of SCL provide information of beta. Okay, in SCL, slope of SCL provide information of beta. Okay, don't be confused of SML, as we shall see, right? So we can figure out this one. So SML, the security market line, is the line that shows the relationship between risk as measured beta. So I told you several times, we don't have to think about the diversity of risk. Only market risk is remained, and the market risk can be measured by beta. And the required rate of return for individual securities can be calculated by this equation. So this equation is called as SML, security market line, right? So SML is the graph to explain the required rate of return and the market risk, which is called as CAPM. So SML is the line, the graph to explain the relationship between required return and the systemic risk, and CAPM is the theory model to provide the relationship between the expected return and realized return and market risk, right? So that's the asset pricing model. And the final result of asset pricing model is the SML, security market line. So security market line provided information about the relationship between the required rate of return and the market risk, right? So market risk premium, as I told you several times, risk premium means what? The surplus return exceed risk-free rate. That's the risk premium we studied already, right? So this is realized return minus risk-free rate. This is the risk premium. As I told you, the reason why we invest our money in risky asset is because we want to more return exceeding the risk-free rate. That is called as risk premium. Okay, so risk premium. So this market risk premium is what? RM minus RF. So this is a market risk premium. So market risk premium is the additional return over the risk-free rate, additional return over the risk-free rate needed to compensate investors for assuming an average amount of risk. Okay, that's the market risk premium. So risk premium for stock I. So if we resolve this equation, is what? Ri minus Rf equal to Rm minus Rf beta, right? If we move the risk-free rate term from left-hand side and right-hand side, then Ri equal to Rf plus Rm minus Rf times beta. So all of the required rate of return can be explained by what? Beta, okay? Given the risk-free rate and the market return, right? So once we know the beta coefficient, then we can calculate the required rate of return in CAPM. Okay. So this is the graph of SML, security market line. So don't be confused about SCL, security characteristic line. So SML, in SML, how would say Ri equal to Rf plus Rm minus Rf beta, right? This is SML, right? So you should figure out what is X variable, what is Y variable. So this is Y equal to A plus BX, right? In SML, Y variable is what? Realized return, right? Required return. And intercept is what? Risk-free rate. So in this case, 6%. Intercept is risk-free rate. And X variable is not market risk premium, but what? Beta. Beta is X variable. So don't be confused of. And market risk premium play a role as what? Slope of SML. Okay, so don't be confused of SCL and SML. In SML, the reason why I exaggerate several times is what? You can take a look this kind of questions in the exam, right? So I'm letting you know the midterm exams, right? Okay, all right. So as in SML, intercept, y-intercept is risk-free rate, and the x variable is beta. So this is beta, right? Beta. And y variable is required return. And slope. Slope is what? Slope is market risk premium. It's gonna be slope. How about the SCL? In SCL, Ri minus Rf plus alpha plus beta Rm minus Rf. In SCL, slope is beta, and the x variable is market risk premium. In SCL, slope is beta, market risk premium is going to be x variable. But in SML, x variable is beta, slope is market risk premium. It's the different thing, right? So don't be confused of SCL and SML. So according to the SML, required return is totally what? Depends on beta, right? Required return is totally Ri equal to Rf plus Rm minus Rf beta, right? So real required rate of return, then this one and this one is given, are given. Risk-free rate in the market return is given. So market risk premium is also given, okay? So this one are given. So only one variable we do not know, we unknown, is what? Beta. So the required return is totally dependent on beta. That's CAPM. All right. So required return is totally positively related to the beta. So if beta is 2, then the required return is going to be 16%, while beta is 0.5, required return is 8.5%. If beta is 1, required return is 11%, because risk-free rate is 6%. So Ri equal to risk-free 6%, right? Risk 6% plus market return is 11%, right? So market risk premium is what? 11.6 is going to be 5, right? Times beta. It depends on beta. So if beta is 1, then 1 times 5 is going to be 5, plus 6 is going to be 11%. If beta is 2, 2 times 5 is equal to 10. 10 plus 6 is 16%. If beta is 0.5, 0.5 times 5, 2.5 plus 6 is 8.5%. So real required return is totally dependent on beta. That's the SML, security market line. All right. So let's take a look at the textbook. Let's take a look at the textbook. Page number 288. There's relevant risk. Let's take a look at the section 8.3c, risk in a portfolio context, the beta coefficient. Yeah, right. So relevant risk can be defined as the risk that remains once a stock is in a diversified portfolio is its contribution to the portfolio market risk. So because we assume that all of our stock we talk about is held in the market portfolio, so there's no diversity of risk. So only one risk remaining is the market risk. Okay, so the risk that remains once a stock is in a diversified portfolio is a contribution to the portfolio's market risk, which is beta. Okay. So it is measured by the extent to which the stock moves up or down with the market, which is beta. Okay, beta coefficient, a metric that shows the extent to which a given stock's returns move up and down with the stock market. Beta measures market risk, right? As I told you several times. And if you take a look at the figure 8.7. Figure 8.7. There you go. There are three stocks there. So the column B provides the information of market return with the 5 observations. The 10% for the first year, 20% for the second year, negative 10% in the third year, 0% for the fourth year, 5% for the fifth year. So 10, 20, negative 10, 0, 5. And there are three assets, asset A, asset L, and asset H. So as you imagine from the name HAL, A is the same as the market return, right? So the A slope is 1. Okay. So this line this line shows SCL, security characteristic line, because the x-axis is the return on market, y-axis is the return on stock. So in this case, this is SCL without risk-free rate, right? So the A is the just market return. So average beta is 1. How about the column C? Column C stock, the return goes up more than market, goes down more than market. So the beta of the H asset is higher than 1, in this case 2. So this is aggressive stock. Whereas stock L, movement less than the market, right? So when market goes up 20%, this stock goes down 15%, which is lower than 20. The market goes down 10%. Asset L, stock L's move 0%, no movement, right? So just like that, this is so L is the low, or stands for low. So that this the brown one provide beta is less than 1. Okay, this is a beta. L is defensive stock, H is the aggressive stock in the figure 8.7. Okay, and there's the summarize from page number 291 to 292. Let me read it. We can summarize our discussion up to this point as follows. Number 1, a stock's risk has two components, diversity of risk and market risk, as I told you several times. Number 2, market risk is the only risk that should matter to a rational, diversified investor. Right? Number 3, investors must be compensated for bearing risk. The greater the risk of stock, the higher its required return, which is common, right? So when we bear the risk, when we take the more risk, then we can ask the more return as compensation, right? However, compensation is required only for risk that cannot be eliminated by diversification. So if risk premiums existed on a stock due to a diversified risk, the stock would be a bargain to well-diversified investors. Number 4, the market risk of a stock is measured by its beta coefficient, which is an index of stocks' relative volatility. Here are some benchmark betas. So beta may be 0.5, beta may be 1, beta can be 2, or beta maybe can be negative. So if beta, the stock whose beta is 2, then stock is twice as risky as an average stock would say. Number 5, which is the important thing we didn't deal with. Number 5 is the portfolio consisting of low beta stocks will also have a low beta because the beta portfolio is a weighted average of its individual securities beta. So if you take a look at the equation 8.5, if when we consider portfolio's beta is the weighted average of beta of each security. Just like to calculate the expected return when we consider portfolio. So when we consider portfolio, it's very easy to calculate the return, right? Whereas to calculate the standard deviation risk is relatively complicated. But to figure out the return is very simple, which is weighted average. Just like that one, the beta, when we calculate the portfolio beta, so portfolio beta is just like to calculate the way to calculate the return when we consider portfolio, just a weighted average, right? So if the S stock held in portfolio, the stock's beta is low, then the portfolio beta is also low. Okay. Number 6, because the stock's beta coefficient determines how the stock affects the riskiness of diversified portfolio, beta is in theory the most relevant measure of the stock's risk. In theory, beta is most relevant measure of stock's risk, right? And the page number 294 provide the terminology, BRM, risk-free rate, market risk premium, something like that, SML. So equation 8.7 provide the equation of SML, security market line. And figure 8.8 provide what we already covered, right? So the x-axis is beta now, x-axis is beta, y-axis is required. This is SML, right? Security market line. So security market line is RI equal to RF. RF play the role as the y-intercept. And slope is market risk premium. Slope is market risk premium. And X variable is beta. X variable is beta. So required rate of return is totally depends on what? Only one factor, which is beta. Okay, which is beta. So 6% is the risk-free rate, play a role as the risk-free rate. So this is the risk-free rate. And we think about the 3 kinds of stocks, right? The L, A, and H. Okay, so if H, let's think about the stock H. The stock H's return is 16%, expected 16%. Why is so high? Because the beta of the H is 2. So it's very more movement rather than market return. So we can ask more return when we invest our money in stock H. Okay, that's the HLM, the risk-free rate. Right. Okay, now let's compare expected return and realized return. Expected return and realized return. So according to the SML or CAPM, SML or CAPM, for example, let's say x-axis is beta, y-axis is the realized return, right? This is the SML, CPT market line. So if beta is 2, then you say required return is the, for example, 10%. For example, okay. For instance, if the beta is 2, then required return is 10%. But if some stock provide 12% of return, so stock D's expected return, higher than stock D, the expected return is higher than the realized return. Then we will say this stock is, we will say, undervalued. Okay, so according to the SML, is sufficient, is enough to make the 10% of rate of return according to the SML. But when we invest our money in stock D, then we can expect the 12% of rate of return. Then we'll say stock D is undervalued. Then we need to buy this kind of stock. So we'll say if stock is located above SML, then we would say those kind of stocks undervalued. So we need to buy. On the other hand, if some stock, the beta is 1, so according to the SML, this is 8%, for example, right? So, but some stock, K stands for Konkuk Milk, not Konkuk University, but Konkuk Milk. Okay? Konkuk University is a rival of Dongguk University. This is a Dongguk, not University, Dongguk Steel, Konkuk Milk. Okay? Different one. The university 아니야. Dongguk Steel, Konkuk Steel, Konkuk Milk. So if the Konkuk beta is 1, so according to the SML, we can ask the 8% of required return, but Konkuk Milk can be expected to, for example, 7% of rate of return. Then this opportunity, this stock return opportunity is located below SML, right? Below SML. So this area below SML, which means overvalued. So we need to sell. So we need to sell Konkuk Milk. We need to buy Dongguk Steel, right? 그래야 돼, 그렇죠? We should do, right? 동국 is better than 건국. Yeah, right? Okay. So anyway, 웃자고 한 얘기요. Just kidding. Yeah, okay. So anyway, if some the investment opportunity is located beyond SML, that's gonna be undervalued. We need to buy. If there is some opportunity below SML, then we'll say this overvalued stock. So we need to sell. The 중앙 development is here, on the line. Then you'd say this is fairly valued. Okay, so here you go. This is the required return by SML. Okay, required return of SML. And this don't go still. The opportunity is below, beyond, above the SML, then it's undervalued, so we need to buy. Gonggung Maker is below the SML. This is overvalued. We need to sell. Jungang Development is the expected return, same as the required return. Then you see this fairly valued. So we need to just keep our investment, right? So that we compare expected return with the required return. All right. Okay, and next topic is the what if. What happened? What if investors raise inflation expectations by 2%? What would happen to the SML? So we already figured out SML1, colored blue, right? Blue line. Okay, so we already figured out. But what if inflation increased 2% by 2%? So we'll say Ri equal to Rf plus Rm minus Rf beta, right? This is SML, right? So X variables is beta, Y variables is required return. So what if Rf increase, which means what? Intercept is increase from 6% to 8%. Risk-free rate, Plato as intercept, y-intercept. So RF is composed of what? RF, real RF plus inflation premium. As we know, we already covered this issue, right? So this is a real risk-free rate. This is the nominal risk-free rate. So nominal risk-free rate can be divided by two components. One of them is real risk-free rate. The other one is inflation premium. So inflation premium goes up 2%. Then what happened? Intercept is increased to 8% from 6%. And as I told you, slope of SML is market risk premium. Okay, so if inflation premium increase, then market risk premium can be decreased because this is increase, right? Rm minus Rf. If Rf is increased, then what? Rm minus Rf is decrease. Seems to be decreased, right? No, because why? If Rf is increased, then what? Rm is also increased as much as risk-free rate. So slope cannot be changed, right? Slope cannot be changed. Even if inflation premium increase, slope, market risk premium is constant because the Rm is also increased. Okay, so if inflation expectation the increase of 2%, then only intercept increase, y-intercept increase, and the slope cannot be changed. All right, then security market line move upward from the SML1 colored by blue to the SML2 colored by red. So the SML move upward in the parallel way, right? Parallel way. So just the slope is same thing. So the only intercept is increased to 8% from 6%. If inflation increased 2%. What if delta in risk aversion is changed? What if the risk aversion increase? What if investors' risk aversion increase, causing the market risk premium to increase by 2.5%? What would happen to the SML? Let's compare SML1 and SML2. Which one is more risk averse? SML1 and SML2. The steeper SML, the more risk averse, right? let's think about, so if we increase the 0.1 beta from 1 to 1.1, then the required return is increased as much as 1 in SML. Okay, how about the SML2? If beta increase by 0.1, then the required return on SML increase as much as this amount. But if beta increase by 0.1, then the required return increase just like this amount. So 2 is better, higher than 1. So we would say SML is more risk averse, because why? Even if same amount of risk, but the SML2 asks more return rather than SML1, right? So red line is more risk averse rather than blue line, okay? So if market risk premium to increase by 2.5%, so as I told you in the SML, is the market risk premium play role as what? Intercept. So if this is increased, then what happened? Slope is increase from blue line to the red line. Okay. So what if investors' risk aversion increased, causing the market risk premium to increase by 2.5%, then what would happen to the SML? Slope of SML increase, right? Slope of SML increase from the blue line to the red line. Okay, that's so SML may change. I mean, in terms of intercept, there's a parallel movement, or SML may increase by steeper slope, just like that one, right? And the last one is some more thought on the CAPM. Let me stop here because in the morning session I stopped here. So let me stop here. So I will explain the last slide in next class, and then after that we will talk about the review session. So if you ask something to prepare the midterm exam, then I will make the answer about your questions in next class. Okay? Any question? Nope. Any question? Nope. It's fun, interesting, huh? All right. So just prepare the exam well as